Good thing I remembered that. Okay. Well, here we are, surfing technical difficulties, riding the waves of life, and it all must be perfect. So, welcome everyone. We're running a little bit behind now, and that's perfectly all right. We have a whole week together. And I would like to just take a moment and talk about why this is called a challenge. Because I've been teaching these free classes for years now, and I typically just call it a free masterclass. But I'm intentionally calling this one a challenge for a reason. Because you don't need more information. You already have so much. So, my intention over the next 5 days is not so much to give you more information, though I will be giving plenty of that. But my main intention is to show you how to finally apply everything that you know, to really apply what you know and what I'm going to be sharing with you so your life actually changes. Because I personally had so much information, I had so much knowledge. I had decades of study and practice and coursework and so much. But my life itself was so drastically different from what I knew it could be and what I felt like it should be. And I was so frustrated because I did know so much and I couldn't understand why my life wasn't reflecting what I knew. And this week, I'm going to show you exactly why that is. Why that is for every single one of you, because I know that every single one of you said yes to this because you're ready for some change. So I called it a challenge because we're not here to just passively absorb information. And for the first time, I actually created a workbook so that you can take what I'm presenting to you during the live sessions and apply it to yourself to create an actual shift. If you really open your hearts and your minds to what I'm saying here in the live sessions, you will experience a transformative shift in the moment. I guarantee it. But when you do the workbook and you answer the questions there, and don't worry, it's not super long. Day one is the longest day. I made day one and I was like, whoa, I've got to make it shorter after this. So the following days are much shorter. But if you actually do the homework, you are going to be creating lasting change. So, what I wanted to do, and I will talk about this in the portal and the email that I send and all the places where you can have touch points for being here. I want to give you a little incentive for anyone who does the homework for each 5 days. All you have to do is look at the workbook, answer the questions, go through the process that I'm leading you through, and take a picture of your homework done and either post it in our WhatsApp group or send it to me in an email. And I'm going to pick one person to have a live free coaching session with me. Just as an incentive, because I guarantee you there's a part of you that's going to say, I don't have time for this. And I've done so many challenges and blah, 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 blah. But that's the part of you talking that we don't want to feed this week. So it's a challenge because you're rising to the occasion and you are doing what you've decided to do, regardless of what that voice says. And that in and of itself is truly transformative. Okay. So stay tuned for more about that, but I wanted to just let you know that that is the reason I'm calling this a challenge. It's a participatory experience. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, many of you are now watching the recording because we had that glitch on YouTube. Bless it. My name is Sarah Joy Fishkin, and I am the owner of Inner Vision Coaching, and I am a certified coach and facilitator with Bob Proctor's Thinking into Results Institute. No, with Bob Proctor's Proctor Gallagher Institute. Sorry, I was reading the chat. Thank you, Casey, for the heart. I teach his Thinking into Results program. Mixed up my sentence there. And I have walked a long road. I've walked a long road in my life, and I feel so grateful and honored. I'm going to tell my story on another day, but I just want to say I feel so deeply grateful to be sitting here in the position that I am today. And it is to this material that I'm sharing with you this week that I owe everything because I had gotten to a point where I was ready to give it all up because I was so, I don't even know what the word is. Frustrated doesn't um, really touch it. I was really disheartened in my life. I felt so stuck. I couldn't understand why nothing I was writing about was manifesting. I couldn't understand why the desires in my heart were not actually being experienced in my life, and that what I was experiencing was so far from that. And I had gone through so many years of feeling so far from what I truly wanted. And I felt like I tried everything, honestly. But nothing was fundamentally changing my life until I found this material. So um I'm beyond grateful. Grateful that word doesn't touch it either. To actually be here to support you to make a shift in your life. And that's what we're going to do this week. So just take a moment and write down for yourself why you're here. Like what brought you? What caused you to say yes to this and to show up? And what is it that you truly desire to receive from this time together this week? What is it that you truly desire to create in your life? And you don't have to go huge into that. We're going to get huge into that today. But just right now, what is your intention for this week? And even more specifically, if you want to hone in a little more to today, to this moment, because this moment is the only moment there is. This moment is it. Future doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist. It's all now. So write down your intention because if you clarify your intention, you are so much more likely to receive it. That is a scientific fact, documented in so many places with so many people. When you write down your intention, you are locking it in. Okay? So write that down. Just take a moment. And while you do that, I will check the WhatsApp and see if anyone said anything. Gosh, I wish I could send it in a quick email too. I don't know. I'm just going to let it be. I had a dream about this actually. All right. So your intention is clear. You know why you're here and what you want. That's very good. My intention for this week is to really help you understand and remember who you really are and to really let go of who you are not and to clarify what you really want and to show you how to get it. My mentor, Bob Proctor, used to say, "Tell me what you want. I'll show you how to get it." And at first I thought that was very arrogant. But he wasn't talking about himself, like, I, Bob Proctor, will show you how to get it. No, I, Sarah Joy Fishkin, it's not about me. It's about shining a light on the laws that are operating so you know how to work with them to get what you want. So think of me as like a master technician here, even though I had technical difficulties over there in YouTube. I love Zoom. So happy to be back here. I'm so at home here on Zoom. Um, it's not about me. I will show you and I have all the power. No, you have the power, but you've been using it against yourself. Just like I was using it against myself for a really long time. And I still occasionally do. But now I catch myself and I know better and I know what to do and I shift it in order to work with the law as opposed to working against. Like imagine, and this is a very, very simplistic example, but I love simplistic examples because they are simple. So think about a brand new, this is funny, but it came to me in the shower and I decided to use it. Think about a brand new toaster oven or a toaster. It doesn't have to be a toaster oven. Think about a brand new toaster and you keep putting toast in it and burning it over and over and over again. But it's a brand new toaster. It works perfectly. What is the problem? The problem is not the toaster. The problem is you don't know how to use the toaster to produce the toast that you want. So if someone comes along and they show you how to use that toaster in a different way, and then you do what they tell you and you make perfect toast. That's what I'm here to do. Because you've been burning your toast and you're frustrated, but the toaster's perfect. You are perfect. The law is perfect. The essence of who you are is perfect. Thank you. The essence of who you are is perfect. But you have programming that's causing you to not operate perfectly. And then you keep getting constantly imperfect results, and then you wonder, what's wrong with me? So the very first myth we're going to bust here is that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. The truth of who you are is absolute perfection. The truth of who you are is the infinite intelligence of life itself. You have encoded in every atom and molecule of your body all the information that's in the entire universe. Physics has proven this now, that in the protons of the atoms in your cells, every single proton has all of the information of the entire universe in it. The universe is not outside of you. People always say, I don't know, what's the universe trying to tell me? What's the universe trying to tell me? And I'm like, I used to say that too. I'm like, well, this isn't working out. I guess the universe is trying to tell me da. And now I'm like, no. There's no universe out there trying to tell you something in here. You are in a constant communication with the universe because you are the universe. There's no power outside of you that's going to come in and save you. There's no power outside of you that's going to come and tear you down. It's how are you working with the power that you are? How are you working with this power that you are? And you can really only work with it in two ways. We're going to keep it super simple. You can either create or disintegrate. You can either go positive or you can go negative. Every time you go positive, you're allowing more of that power to flow through you. You're allowing life to increase and expand. You're allowing things to get better and better and better. And that's what the universe is doing. It's continually expanding. And because you and the universe are one, it is continually expanding through you. And the dissatisfaction that you are experiencing in your life right now is very good. It is a creative state. So that's another myth we're going to bust. That dissatisfaction, there's something wrong. I'm really dissatisfied. There's something wrong with me. I used to feel like I really should just be grateful. I should just be satisfied. Now, you actually, for your own benefit and for the benefit of everyone and everything, you should always be grateful because gratitude is an acknowledgement of how blessed you are. Gratitude is an acknowledgement of the truth operating in your life. The truth being that there's only love, there's only goodness, there's only health, there's only prosperity. And when we're grateful, we're acknowledging that in our lives. So always be grateful, but never be satisfied. Because the dissatisfaction is the indication that you're in a conversation with the universe. I made it sound like it's outside of you, but I didn't mean it that way. You're in conversation with the infinite intelligence within you, and you're in a creative state. So never feel like, oh, well, I already have so much. I've already done so much. I should just be satisfied. That is poppycock. That's hogwash. Because we're in an infinitely expanding universe. We're the only ones who decide what is big and what's small, what's a lot and what's a little. And if you're feeling dissatisfied, if you're feeling kind of stuck and like you're ready for some movement, that's because you are. And if you shut it down and say, well, I should just be satisfied, what you're doing is you're shutting down the flow of the creative stream of life trying to operate through you. We have free will here. As far as I can tell, we're the only creatures that do. So we get to say, okay, I'm in or I'm out. So when you say, I just should be da 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 da, so I'm not going to like listen to that voice in me that wants more. I feel guilty wanting more. I don't feel good enough wanting more. I don't feel worthy of more. If you listen to that, just know you have that. That's your choice. But just know it's going to take you in the other direction, which is disintegrate because we never stay the same. One of the most fundamental laws of life is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And I know that sounds like a big long thing, but what it means is that energy it's not created or destroyed, but it's always changing. And when you say no to that process, it's going to cause change, but in another direction. And that's what causes, first of all, stagnation, then disintegration. And that leads to all the dis words, like dis-ease, disharmony. So truly, that's not the direction that any of us want to go. It basically leads us to suffering. But, and then I'm going to get into the topic for today, but I have to lay some foundation. But it's very comfortable. There is a part of us, myself included. I'll tell you, before I did this, anyway, I won't get too much into a story, but I had these thoughts of like, remember the days, Sarah, when all you had to do, when all you did in the world was pull weeds? You would just show up, you would pull weeds, and they would pay you, and you'd go home. And I was like, that sounds really good. Because so much has gone into preparing for this event. And I was a little bit, it was a lot. It was a lot. It requires a new capacity than I had when all I needed to do was pull weeds. And that was very comfortable. It was very comfortable to show up, have nothing really demanded of me, and be able to pull weeds and get paid for it. But I wasn't satisfied with that because life wanted me to grow. Life wanted me, and I wanted more than anything to live my purpose. And I knew that wasn't it, but it was damn comfortable. And making the decisions, we're going to get into decision this week, but making all of the decisions to change that was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. But this is the great news, okay? This is what my mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me. He would yell it, and I'm like, oh, Bob, you're here with us today. So maybe he'll yell it through me. He would say, your comfort zone is a dead zone. Your comfort zone is your dead zone. Basically meaning if you stay in your comfort zone, you're going to continue to stagnate and eventually disintegrate, like it or not. In truth, there is no death, but That's a story for another day. But so the choice is yours. But just know choosing growth is uncomfortable. So don't let your deep desire for comfort hold you back. Okay, that's not why you're here. That's not why you said yes to this 5 days. Let yourself get a little uncomfortable. And the first thing that we're going to do in these 5 days, which is today, day one, is talk about desire and talk about goals. And at the outset, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, that sounds great. I love to think about what I want. I'll tell you, if you really do what I'm asking you to do in the way that I ask you to do it, it's probably going to make you uncomfortable because it's not just about let me just think and then like, in a wishful thinking kind of way about what I want. We start there. But in the homework, I push you to actually take what you want and turn it into a goal. And if you're anything like me, a lot of you are not going to want to do that. Some of you are not going to feel like you can do that. I used to really resist goals. I felt like goals were for successful people, and I didn't think of myself as one of them. Goals were for like business people, and I was not one of them. I am now. Um, Goals are going to keep me in a box. That was a big one for me. I was really identified with my creative self, artistic self, and I felt like setting a goal would put me in a box, and I wanted to free flow. But here's the problem with free flowing. It doesn't allow manifestation to really occur because you're all over the place. Now let's zoom out for a minute real quick because I just brought up that word manifestation and I forgot to touch on a point here. That's really important. This word manifestation, it's become like a big word, but really you could think about it just like a word like circulation or digestion or respiration. I don't know why it's become such a buzzword because it is literally one of the functions that we are involved in 24/7, 365. There's nothing special about manifestation any more than there is special about digestion or circulation, which actually, in and of itself, if you think about it, those are miraculous processes. So, manifestation is a miraculous process. Digestion is a miraculous process. Circulation is a miraculous process, but they are processes that are happening all the time and we take them for granted as normal. But manifestation, people are like, I need to learn how to manifest. You do. You need to learn how to manifest deliberately, but you're manifesting all the time. And that word manifest, those 3 letters, M-A-N, at the beginning of that word, are the same 3 letters, not by accident, that are in human, woman. And it means distributor, measurer. So we are these receivers and distributors of divine creative energy. That's all we're doing. We are like these incredible receivers and transmitters. That's all we're doing, receiving and transmitting, receiving and transmitting. And so when you don't have a goal, you're sending very mixed signals to that process. You are scattering your life force energy and you are creating scattered results. A goal takes you out of wishful thinking. That's what I was doing for years. I was just in wishful thinking. But there are 2 parts to the manifestation process, 2 essential ingredients. We're going to get into one of them today and one of them tomorrow, and then we're going to work with it all the whole week. The first part is desire. Most people are pretty familiar with that. It's like, okay, well, I got to know what I want. You do. You've got to know what you want. And if you have a voice that says, I don't know what I want, it's not true. I used to feel like I didn't know what I want. I was the person standing at the ice cream parlor, sampling all the flavors while everyone else was making their decisions and getting their cones. And I was still trying to figure out what I wanted when they were halfway through eating theirs. I was really identified with being an I don't know person. I don't know. I don't know. And then no wonder I felt so lost, right? I had an identity that was, I don't know. So I kept feeding this infinite intelligence, I don't know. And I would make all sorts of decisions based on not really knowing, not really being connected to what I wanted. I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't connected with it. And so do you. You know what you want, 100%. But you have to get connected with it. And then once you get connected with it, that's desire. The second part of the manifestation formula is expectation. And that's what we're going to get into big time tomorrow when we study the mind, the subconscious mind, because the desire is in your conscious mind. Your expectation is in your subconscious mind. And I'll tell you what, I was even though I was vague about what I wanted, I would write in my journals about all these things I could imagine having and doing and being, but I never really truly expected to have any of it, to be any of it, to do any of it. And that's why none of it was happening. The desire and the expectation must match. So we're going to work on that this week. But the first step is desire. What do you really want? When was the last time that you really gave yourself permission to ask yourself that question? What do I want? Without conditioning it, without saying, well, I want this, but da 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 da. I would really love this, but da 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 da. I would really love that, but I should da 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 da. Or I can't da 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 da. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to connect in an intimate conversation with your heart and ask yourself truly, what do I really want? What do I want more than anything? I'm looking at this beautiful picture of Michelle here she's got her hand on her heart on her little screen saver here on Zoom. It's there in your heart. And in the workbook I created, I'm guiding you to connect with this. And I want to give you a little support around this right now. Because that's a big question, right? Well, gosh, what do I want? Like, what do you mean, what do I want? I want you to think about the four main areas of your life. And I like to think of these as four pillars. And they're simple: love, relationships, family, friendships, all sorts of, anything that comes in the category of love, self-love. Love is one of them. Health, wealth, and creative self-expression. Those are what I consider the four pillars of your life. I'll name them again. Love, wealth, health, and creative self-expression. And if any area of your life, if any of these four areas are deficient, if you think about like four pillars holding up, holding something up, it's going to be like this. Your life is going to be out of balance. So if you just on your paper with your pen, I hope you have a paper and pen for all these sessions, write down love, write down money or wealth. And in there, comes your career, comes what you do for a living, if you have such a thing for yourself. Write down health. And in that health, is a broad spectrum. It's not just your physical health, it's your emotional health, it's your spiritual health. And then creative self-expression means like, are you feeling fulfilled creatively? Are you doing what you love at least some of the time? Are you engaged in activities that really nurture you and bring you joy and ignite your inspiration? Are you expressing yourself? Because if we're not expressing ourselves, we get all locked up and everything stagnates. So are you giving yourself permission to do that in life? And if you write down those four categories, now just take a few moments. We're not going to get deep into this today, but I want to give you some time getting started, and then you can get deeper into it in the workbook. What do you really desire for yourself in these four areas of your life? If I had been prepared, I would play some music while we write about that. But as we had to jump into Zoom so quickly, I'm not going to do that right now. So we'll just be silent for a few moments and just take time to see if you can connect with your desire for your life in these four categories for yourself. And I'm going to check the WhatsApp group while you do that. Oops, I was muted. How's it going for you all? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you feel like you are able to connect with yourself in this way to really access and connect with what you truly would love in these areas of your life. And remember, well, maybe I haven't said this yet. This is important. This is not the time to give any consideration to how you could possibly uh, have these experiences or these things. In fact, that's actually not your job to figure out. There are certain jobs that are yours and certain things that are for the infinite intelligence. And I like to think about it as gardening. So there are certain jobs in the garden that are yours to do as the gardener, and certain jobs that are not. Your job is to clarify what seeds you're planting. That's what you're starting to do today. Your job is to plant them. That's what we're going to be doing over the next few days. Your job is to tend to them. That's also what we're going to be doing over the next 5 days. But you're not the one who makes them grow, okay? You're not the one who makes that seed turn into a sprout, turn into a plant, turn into a flower, turn into a fruit, okay? That's not your job. And so many people get caught trying to figure that out. They then don't even give themselves permission to want what they truly want because they come to the conclusion, huh, Well, I can't see how this could possibly happen, so forget it. Okay, yes, trust in the unknown and it will all unfold. But first, you have to clarify what you want. We are the ones who give the form, but we're not the ones who make it happen. So when you are clarifying your desires, don't give any thought to how. Give yourself an inner sanctuary space and protect yourself from that question. And this is also not about should. That's a big one. I used to be really controlled by should. And think about the word should and think about shoulders. They should be called shoulders. It's that same word, spelled the same way, with just an ERS on it. And I used to have so much shoulder tension because I was so under the weight of all the shoulds. How I felt I should, what I felt I should want, what I felt I should do as a mother, as a daughter, as a partner. I was never really connecting with myself genuinely. It was all based on outer considerations. So don't do that this week. Remember, I said this is a challenge. This is an opportunity to do things differently. So your job this week is to give no attention to the shoulds, to the hows, to the coulds. Oh, I could have done that 20 years ago. Okay, well, you didn't. But here you are now. Now is the only time there is. I can't tell you how often I used to think, gosh, if I had just acted on the ideas that I had, I would have, I could have. But the truth is, I didn't. And I didn't because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't because I didn't understand the true nature of who I was. I didn't because I was so controlled by the subconscious patterns that were running inside of me that I just never took it past a brief whim. So this week, I really encourage and support you to ignore all those the voices that are going to come in and say, oh, well, you should, you could, you didn't, you would, how? No, this is my time. This is my time to connect with what I want. And I know that I know what I want. And I'm now giving myself permission to connect with this. So once you're clear on what you want, then what do you do with it? Now, remember, I started introducing this concept of goals. And I talk about this with my clients a lot, and it really is true. A goal is a decision. You're taking what you desire, and in this week, you're looking at what you desire most of all. And of course, you desire many things, but I encourage you to hone it in and say, okay, what of these things that I'm writing down on this list in these areas of my life that I know I truly want, what would make the most powerfully positive impact on my life now? Choose that as your goal. And I'm guiding you through a process in the workbook to do this, but I want to say a few things about it live so that when you get to the workbook, you have my voice in your head. And you could also watch the recording, but you have my voice in your head talking about this. Because not everyone who sets a goal is making the right decision here. Some people choose, quote unquote, the wrong goal. And I say it in quotation marks because ultimately there's no right or wrong. But if you really want to like make things happen in your life, if you choose there's a certain kind of goal you can choose that's not going to do it for you. It's going to keep you where you are. And remember, there's a law of life that's create or disintegrate. There's movement always happening, and this life force energy is always expanding, and it's trying to do it through you. So my mentor, Bob, he taught me that there are 3 kinds of goals. And I'm going to get into them briefly today. It's 10 minutes to the hour, but we started a little late because of all the technical difficulties. So we'll see if I end exactly on the hour or we go a little over. And if you have to go, feel free, of course. But I want to talk about the three types of goals because it's really important. Because a goal is a decision. You're now deciding I'm trading my life force energy for this. We wake up every day and we've got energy. What are we doing with it? When you set a goal, you're making a decision. I'm using my energy for this. So it better be good. It's got to be worthy of you. And what do I used to feel so opposite to this. I didn't feel worthy of what I wanted. But it's the opposite is true. You are beyond worthy. You are divine. You are divine. Worthy doesn't even come close to describing what you are. And yet we set these little goals that are like, oh, well, maybe I could do that. And it's like, what are you talking about? You are an infinite power. There's an infinite, eternal power operating through you. Remember, I said every single proton of every single atom in every single cell of your body has the entire universe in it? And I'm really not making that up because it's been proven by physics. Just check out Nassim Haramein. It'll blow your mind. You can find infinity going to the smallest possible particle to the largest. You'll find infinity. So you're an infinite being, and that's not a cliche. And yet you're like, well, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I could do that. Because you don't see yourself that way. We're going to get big into this on the self-image day. But to help support you, at least to set a goal that is worthy of you, or even possibly close to being worthy of you, because you are magnificent. You've got to understand these parameters, okay? There's some parameters here. And when I first found these out, I was like, really? You got to be kidding me. But it's amazing. If you just do what I'm saying, it took me a long time to do what I was told to do. And once I did, so grateful. So there are three kinds of goals. Bob taught me, and he called them, and in our Thinking into Results program, that's what they're called, A, B, and C. Okay, just keep it so simple, ABCs. An A-type goal is something you've already done, and you're going to do it again. And people get caught in this, and they're doing it all the time because it's why? It's comfortable. It's so comfortable. An example of an A-type goal would be like what I did when I moved from California to the East Coast. A goal, remember, is a decision. I decided I was going to start my own landscape gardening company. I already had a landscape gardening company in the East Bay in California. So I already had started a landscape gardening company. I already was running a landscape gardening company. And I was already doing everything involved in having a landscape gardening company. And when I moved to the East Coast, I decided, and here's the kicker, even though I really don't love this, because I didn't truly love it, I'm going to do that again. Why? Because it's all I really felt like I knew how to do, and I couldn't think beyond it. And I was like, oh, I just need to get something going, so I'm going to do that again. Now listen to those words I just said. I couldn't think beyond it. That is what we're here to do this week. We're here to think beyond where we have thought before. Because your results in life are directly equivalent to what you're able to conceive mentally and then embody and accept emotionally and then embody in your behavior. So there's a law of mental equivalence. It's a law of cause and effect. If you have a small idea, you're going to get a small result. You have a big idea, you're going to get a big result. And at that time in my life, I don't fault myself for it. There are so many reasons and excuses and alibis I could list to you. I don't fault myself, but I wasn't able to think any bigger. I didn't even know I could possibly think any bigger. So that was an A-type goal. I did the same thing over and over again, and I was unsatisfied and miserable doing it all over again. A B-type goal is something you've never done before, but you know how to do it. It's like you know that if you just do X, Y, and Z, you can do this. So, like, what's an example of a B type goal? A B type goal would be like, let's say you are in sales and you've been selling like an average of, I don't know, $1,000 a month of some sort of product. A B type goal would be like, I'm going to do 1,500. And I know if I just do a little more of this and a little more of that, I can break my record and I can do that. But it's still within this realm of normalcy, of comfort, of um, predictability. Okay. And the problem with B type goals, and most people really get stuck on these ones, there's not enough juice in them. They don't actually feed this part in ourselves that is hungry for the growth because it doesn't require much growth. And it's not actually what we really want. That person in sales, what they really want is to do 10K a month. But they don't even think that's possible for them. So they never even consider it. But the 10K is what excites them because they're like, oh, if I were doing 10K consistently, I could do this and I could do this and I can do this. Whereas the 1500, they're like, well, I could just pay that bill. I wouldn't be stressed every month about paying that bill. So I'm going to do that. But there's no real excitement and satisfaction and inspiration in just being able to pay your bills. Of course, that's important. That's like step one, but don't make that your goal. Because if you go bigger, if you go to the 10K or the 20K, and I'm only talking money here just as an example, the all the B type goals are going to get satisfied on the way. But the 10K or the 20K, when you're going to like 10x or 20x your results, that's a C type goal. Okay. So a C type goal is the only kind of goal we're going to focus on this week. And it's the only kind of goal I focus on in my mentorship program. Although we do sometimes set B type stepping stone goals. Those are important, but we always keep the C type goal what we're really relating with. A C type goal has some very interesting qualities to it. Qualities that used to make me again say like, you got to be kidding me, really? Because I couldn't, I was not I was a big dreamer, but I wasn't a big thinker, if you understand the difference. So, a C type goal is something you have never done before, okay? Is something that you really, really want. Like when you think about it, you're like, wow, if that were to happen, my life would just be so amazing. A C type goal is really connected to a bigger vision for your life, which is connected to your purpose. And I might give you all a really good article to read that Bob wrote called Purpose, Vision, and Goals. But a C type goal is really connected to the whole reason you're here. Every single person on this planet is here for a reason. You've been given unique gifts and talents that are exclusive to you. No one else is like you. You are a completely unique and special expression of life. And there's something very unique and special about you. And those things that are very unique and special about you, though they may be buried under years of like conditioning, are what you naturally love to do. You naturally love to do it. And that means it's your purpose. It's why you're here. We've just let school and parents and other people tell us, oh, well, you could never make money doing that, blah, 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 as if money is the only measuring stick anyway. But, uh, and so we abandon ourselves, we abandon what we love, we abandon our purpose, and we think, okay, well, then I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And that causes so much frustration and suffering that we eventually circle back around because we're banging our heads against the wall and we say, okay, all right, universe, God, intelligence within me, you show me why I'm here. And then it's like, you've always known. Hello? You've always known, and you still know, but you've gotten disconnected from it. A C type goal is related to this. It's like, ah, I love that. So it's something you've never done before or experienced before or had before. It's something that activates this experience of like, wow, that would be amazing. That's connected to building out my vision. And number three, you have no idea how to do it. Like zero idea. When you think about it, you're like, ah, that's preposterous. Me? I could do that? Yeah. And because you have no idea how to do it, it scares you. You're like, wow, I'm going to decide this. I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. I really, really want it. It's bigger than I've ever thought before. Ah, I'm scared shitless. That's how you know it's a good goal because it causes you to grow. You're not here to get the thing. You're not here to have that. You're not here to be that or do that or that's all icing on the cake. You're here to go through the process of growing and of shedding layers of your previous self to connect with a self that is much more aligned with the truth of who you are. Empowered, confident, strong, sovereign. That's the essence of who you are. And so when you set a goal like that, you've got you've got to get connected with that in yourself more and more and more. I'll tell you to show up like this and teach, it caused me to have to get way more confident. I never would have done this when I was in my gardening days. I was hiding in those weeds. I never would have thought, you got to be kidding me if I'm going to show up and talk to strangers and talk, I would be like, what am I going to say? I don't know, blah, 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 blah. I was so uh, attached to this small idea of myself, but it was just an idea. So I set a goal, I made decisions in alignment with that goal, and then I had to show up and be a new version of myself. And we're going to get big into this on the self-image lesson, but that is a C-type goal. And once you get this idea, Bob says there's a few parts to it. It's like at first it's just like a fantasy. You're like, ah, yeah, that would be amazing. And you let yourself think about it. And then you're like, what would my life be like if this actually happened? And that's when you're moving it into a theory and you play with it a little bit. You're like, wow, this is what it might be like. And you kind of like really get into getting more real with it. And then you come to a certain point where you make a decision. And then you write it on a card. So I have a space in the workbook where you can write it. I don't have a card specifically for you, but I made a little goal card space in the workbook where you write your goal. And that is a decision. I don't know how I'm going there, but I'm going there. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's happening. And that is a goal. And I want you to think about it. And then I'm going to wrap up because you probably all have places to be. Think about it just like placing an order. Maybe you guys order things on Amazon or you order things in restaurants. When you order something on Amazon or when you order something in a restaurant, you're not saying, I think I'd like something that's sort of like this. Mm-mm. You really clarify specifically, oh, I want that. And you place your order. That's what you're doing when you set your goal. You're getting really specific. You're writing it down. It's a decision. And then you have now you've now selected your seed. You haven't planted it yet. You've selected it. We're going to work on the planting part in the next few days, but you can't skip the selecting of your seed part. Like how would you plant anything in your garden if you didn't select your seed? You would just let a whole bunch of weeds grow or things that have grown the year before and they have seeded themselves, but you're like, oh, I'm kind of tired of eating that kind of lettuce, but oh, let's just let it grow again. No, you got to select your seeds. That's the very first step. So to remind you all, this is in the workbook. And don't be daunted. Like I said, day one is way longer than any of the other workbook days because I got real with myself when I got like 10 pages in day one. I was like, people don't want to, they're not here for this. You're here for, I wanted to make it more simple and accessible. So day 2, 3, 4, and 5 are much simpler in the workbook, but bear with me on day 1. I didn't have it in me to redo it. But I'm leading you through a process that I just described. And do it. Do it, do it, do it. Because you're the one who's going to benefit. And then take a picture of it, a screenshot or, I don't know, technology. Find a way to show that you've done it and either email it to me or put it, even better, please, just to encourage other people, post it in the WhatsApp group. Next time I do one of these challenges, we're going to have like a Facebook group or something, but I didn't do that this time. But we do have a WhatsApp group. I enabled comments, I believe. I'll double check. So you can post something. And the person who does their homework every single day, I'm going to pick one of you, because I'm sure there will be many of you doing your homework every single day. I'm going to pick one of you to have a one-on-one session with me. And I might also I think I'll pick another one. I'll pick 2 people, someone who does their homework at least most of the time, and send you a copy of Bob Proctor's Art of Living book, which is so good. So, does anyone have any questions since we're on Zoom here and we can communicate a little better? Though I could have seen you on the chat, I guess, in YouTube. Um, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will wrap up. This recording will be posted in the portal. Thank you, Casey. Yes, yes. I'm so glad you managed to get here from YouTube. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. I feel like, wow, there were a lot of people showing up in YouTube and it was kind of was what it was, but we'll talk about it. But I had an intuition, I will say. I had an intuition to do this whole thing on Zoom. We'll talk about intuition on other days. And I overrode that intuition with my logical mind that had reasons for doing it on YouTube. And once again, I've shown that intuition is always to be listened to. So that's my lesson for that. And it's going to be better tomorrow. I'm either going to do it, I'm going to do it here. That's for sure. So feel free to come here. I think I'm also going to live stream it on YouTube. I think I can do that if I just have to technologically figure it out. And I know I'm capable of that. So, but what I was going to say is this recording and the access to the workbook, everything is in the portal. And I'm pretty sure you all have access to that. I'm just going to briefly put it here in the chat. It's a long one, innervisioncoaching.org/. I could have made a smaller URL, for crying out loud. Okay. That is the link, innervisioncoaching.org/time to find portal. Yeah, that's the link where you're going to find everything. And I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I will also thank you, Wendy. It's always great to have you. I will be posting the new Zoom link. There's going to be a new link. I'm going to send that in an email and post it in the portal and post it in the WhatsApp group. So as many people as possible can find their way here tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. And I'm so grateful to you all. Enjoy the homework process, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Take care.